Pope Leo is the first ever leader of the church to visit the Muslim country of Algeria. The Vatican saying he wants to help build bridges between the two faiths. Now, he's going to be speaking in just a few seconds. We'll be listening to that live from Algeria. This visit to Algeria is infused with personal significance for the Pope, as it's home of the founder of his Augustinian religious order. Now, after this stop in Algeria, the Pope will continue his tour of 4 African nations. He'll go to Cameroon, Angola, and Equatorial Guinea. Let's listen to what he has to say.
I had a dream, and that dream was a Pope visiting Algeria to meet the people with whom the Catholic Church shares a bond of life and a bond of blood. Today, these people welcome you as a supreme pontiff, as a son of St. Augustine, and above all, as a brother. Our people is like the Maqam al-Shahid, the Martyrs' Memorial, at the foot of which you now stand. It is proud, like this monument that rises into the sky of Algiers. And at the same time, it is burdened by a painful and wounded history for which a genuine request for forgiveness is still lacking. It is an incredibly resilient, young, diverse people, eager for encounters, and whose hospitality speaks for itself. Holy Father, since your elections, Algeria has been waiting the visit of the one who presented himself as a son of St. Augustine, and has been preparing to welcome you as a son of this land. Marhaba bik fi bladna.
Dear Algerian brothers and sisters, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. I give thanks to God for giving me the opportunity to visit your country as the successor of the Apostle Peter, after having already done so twice as a spiritual son of St. Augustine. However, I stand before you first and foremost as a brother who is delighted to be able to renew through this meeting the bonds of affection that bring our hearts closer together.
أيها الإخوة والأخوات الأعزاء في الجزائر، السلام عليكم. أشكر الله الذي أتاح لي الفرصة لزيارة بلدكم بصفة خليفة الرسول بطرس، بعد أن زرته في السابق مرتين بصفة راهبا من رهبنة القديس أغسطينوس، غير أنني قبل كل شيء أقف أمامكم أخا سعيدا بأن أجدد في هذا اللقاء روابط المودة التي تقرب بين قلوبنا.
Looking at all of you, I see the face of a strong and young people whose hospitality and fraternity I have experienced frequently. In the Algerian heart, friendship, trust, and solidarity are not merely words, but values that matter and give warmth and strength to your life together.
أنظر إليكم جميعا وأرى وجه شعب قوي شاب سبق ولمست فيه كرم الضيافة والأخوة. ففي قلب الجزائريين لا تقتصر الصداقة والثقة والتضامن على الكلمات، إنما هي قيم لها وزنها وتضفي دفئا ومتانة على العيش معا.
Algeria is a great country with a long history, rich in traditions, dating back to the time of St. Augustine and well before. It is also a painful history, marked by periods of violence. Yet, precisely thanks to the nobility of spirit that characterizes you, which I sense is alive even here and now, you have been able to overcome these trials with courage and integrity.
الجزائر بلد نبيل ذو تاريخ عريق وغني بتقاليده منذ زمن القديس أغسطينوس وقبل ذلك بكثير، وهو أيضا تاريخ عرف الألم وعانى من فترات عنف، لكنكم بفضل سمو الروح الذي يميزكم والذي ألمسه حيا هنا الآن قد عرفتم أن تتجاوزوا كل ذلك بشرف وشجاعة.
Our presence here at this monument pays tribute to this history of Algeria and to the very spirit of a people who fought for the independence, dignity, and sovereignty of this nation.
إن الوقوف عند هذا النصب التذكاري هو تكريم لتاريخ الجزائر ولروح شعب ناضل من أجل استقلال وكرامة وسيادة هذه الأمة.
In this place, let us remember that God desires peace for every nation, a peace that is not merely an absence of conflict, but one that is an expression of justice and dignity. This peace, which allows us to face the future with a reconciled spirit, is possible only through forgiveness. The true struggle for liberation will be definitely won only when peace in our hearts has finally been achieved. I know how difficult it is to forgive. However, as conflicts continue to multiply throughout the world, we cannot add resentment upon resentment, generation after generation.
في هذا المقام نستذكر أن الله يريد السلام لكل أمة، سلاما ليس فقط بمعنى غياب الصراع، بل أيضا تعبيرا عن العدل والكرامة، وهذا السلام الذي يسمح بالتطلع إلى المستقبل بقلب متصالح لا يمكنه تحقيقه إلا بالمغفرة. إن النضال الحقيقي من أجل التحرر لن يحسم نهائيا إلا حين يسود السلام في القلوب. أعلم كم تصعب المغفرة، ومع ذلك وبينما تتزايد الصراعات في كل أنحاء العالم لا يجوز للأحقاد أن تتراكم بعضها فوق بعض جيلا بعد جيل.
The future belongs to men and women of peace. In the end, justice will always triumph over injustice, just as violence, despite all appearances, will never have the last word.
المستقبل هو في يد الرجال والنساء صناع السلام، وفي النهاية سينتصر العدل على الظلم دائما، كما أن العنف بالرغم من كل المظاهر لن تكون له الكلمة الأخيرة أبدا.
In this land, where cultures and religions intersect, mutual respect is the path that enables everyone to walk together. May Algeria, firm in its roots and steadfast in the hope of its young men and women, continue to contribute to stability and dialogue within the international community and along the shores of the Mediterranean.
في هذه الأرض ملتقى الثقافات والأديان، إن الاحترام المتبادل هو الطريق الذي يمكن الشعوب من السير معا. أرجو أن تبقى الجزائر وهي القوية بجذورها وأمل شبابها قادرة على مواصلة إسهامها في الاستقرار والحوار داخل المجتمع الدولي وعلى ضفتي البحر الأبيض المتوسط.
Every people possesses a unique patrimony of history, culture, and faith. Algeria, too, is blessed with this richness, which has sustained it through difficult times and continues to guide it into the future. Faith in God has a central place in your heritage. Indeed, faith illuminates the life of each person, sustains families, and inspires a sense of fraternity. A nation that loves God possesses true wealth, and the Algerian people cherish this jewel as one of their treasures. Our world needs believers like this, men and women of faith who thirst for justice and unity. For this reason, in the face of a humanity yearning for fraternity and reconciliation, it is a great gift and a sacred duty for us to declare with conviction that we are always united as brothers and sisters, children of the one God.
كل شعب يحتفظ بتراث فريد من التاريخ والثقافة والإيمان، وتمتلك الجزائر أيضاً هذا الغنى الذي عزز مسيرتها في الأوقات الصعبة ولا يزال يوجه مستقبلها. في هذا التراث يحتل الإيمان بالله المقام الأول، فهو ينير حياة الناس ويسند ويدعم العائلات ويلهم روح الأخوة. والشعب الذي يحب الله يمتلك الغنى الحقيقي، وشعب الجزائر يحتفظ بهذه الجوهرة في خزائن كنوزه. عالمنا بحاجة إلى مؤمنين من هذا النمط، رجالا ونساء ممتلئين إيمانا ومتعطشين للعدل والوحدة. لذلك وأمام إنسانية تطوق إلى الأخوة والمصالحة، إن إعلاننا القوي وعيشنا الدائم معا كإخوة فيما بيننا وأبناء لله هو نعمة عظيمة والتزام مبارك.
There are those who search for riches that fade away, deceive and disappoint, and which sadly often end up corrupting the human heart, giving rise to envy, rivalry, and conflict. To these people, Jesus repeats the question that he asked 2,000 years ago. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his life? It is a crucial question for everyone. The dead whom we honor here have already given their answer. They lost their lives, but in doing so, they gave them up for the love of their own people. May their example sustain the people of Algeria and all of us on our journey, for true freedom is not merely inherited, it is chosen anew every day.
إلى الذين يسعون وراء غنى زائل يخدع ويخيب الآمال، وكثيرا ما يفسد للأسف قلب الإنسان ويولد الحسد والمخاصمات والصراعات، ما زال السيد المسيح يكرر السؤال الذي طرحه قبل 2000 سنة: ماذا ينفع الإنسان لو ربح العالم كله وخسر نفسه؟ إنه سؤال أساسي للجميع، وقد أجاب عنه الذين سبقونا ويكرمون هنا. لقد فقدوا حياتهم بل بذلوها حبا لشعبهم، ليكن تاريخهم سندا لشعب الجزائر ولنا جميعا في مسيرتنا، لأن الحرية الحقيقية لا نرثها فحسب بل نختارها كل يوم.
Allow me therefore to conclude by repeating the words of Jesus to his disciples, which we have come to call the Sermon on the Mount or the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
اسمحوا لي إذن أن أختتم حديثي مكررا كلمات السيد المسيح لتلاميذه، تلك التي نسميها عظة الجبل أو التطويبات. طوبى لفقراء الروح فإن لهم ملكوت السماوات. طوبى للمحزونين فإنهم يعزون. طوبى للودعاء فإنهم يرثون الأرض. طوبى للجياع والعطاش إلى البر فإنهم يشبعون. طوبى للرحماء فإنهم يرحمون. طوبى لأطهار القلوب فإنهم يشاهدون الله. طوبى للساعين إلى السلام فإنهم أبناء الله يدعون طوبى للمضطهدين على البر فإن لهم ملكوت السماوات.
Thank you for your warm welcome. May God bless you.
شكرا لحسن استقبالكم بارككم الله.
That's Pope Leo speaking there at the Algeria-France War Monument in Algiers. He is in Algeria for 2 days, the start of an Africa tour that will go to 4 different countries. France 24's Claire Pacalan was listening in to that speech as well. She joins me now live from Algiers. Claire, a lot of strong words there from the Pope, asking for forgiveness, acknowledging the painful history of Algeria.
Certainly. Let me just give you an idea of what you can see behind me. The Pope is now leaving the podium. The monument you can see behind me, that's the monument of the martyrs. Now that commemorates those who fell during the Algerian War of Independence. It's a very famous and important monument here in Algiers. And this is the first stop on the Pope's visit, the 2-day visit he is taking on here in Algeria. And he started his speech saying, Assalamu alaikum. So he was welcoming, he was saying hello to everyone in Arabic. He then spoke in English, and there was an Arabic translation. Some of the parts that stood out, I felt, were he acknowledged that he is a son of St. Augustine. St. Augustine was a bishop 15 centuries ago in what was then Roman Africa and is now Annaba in the northeast of Algeria. So he's from that order. He's been to Algeria before he became Pope. But he says more than anything today, he is a brother, and that he is delighted to renew the bonds that bring our hearts together, the Algerian people and himself. He also said that looking at you, he sees a lot of young people. And it's true that many people who were watching here are students. They've been invited by their universities. And he says he has experienced in the past the friendship, trust and hospitality of Algerians, because he has visited Algeria before he became Pope, to follow in the footsteps of St. Augustine. He also said Algeria has a history rich in tradition going back to St. Augustine and before, but there is also painful memories and painful moments in Algeria's past. But he says, thanks to the nobility of spirit, you have overcome this. He was speaking directly to the Algerian people there. He also says his presence here at the monument for martyrs, it pays tribute to this. He says the Algerian people fought hard for their sovereignty and for their dignity. And he also said that, let us remember, God desires peace for every nation. He says as conflicts multiply and resentment multiplies upon resentment, he said that we cannot continue generation after generation having this situation. He said also that violence will never have the last word.
Indeed, and this is something that perhaps people who were listening to the Pope watchers, if you like, might have found interesting. The Pope saying that God does desire peace for every nation, because this trip has been overshadowed by some very targeted comments by the U.S. President Donald Trump after the Pope spoke out against the war in Iran.
Certainly, while the Pope never mentions the names of particular leaders, he has been vocal, saying that he is against what he calls senseless and inhumane violence in the Holy Land and in the region. He's also said that he's never felt closer to the beloved Lebanese people. This as Israel continues to strike Lebanon, and he has been very clear that he wants a peaceful diplomatic solution. The Trump comments saying that the Pope is not a good Pope and that he should stop catering to the radical left and that he's no good for Catholicism. We've been speaking to people in the crowd. Some people weren't actually even aware that Trump had made those comments. Others said that they're not all that interested in what Trump has to say today. That's what people have been telling us. They've come here to see the Pope. The Pope will be going on to visit the Great Mosque of Algiers later, and then he'll hold a mass in the Basilica of Our Lady of Africa. That's the story here today. It's not what Trump has been saying about the Pope, it's what the Pope is saying to the Algerian people here today. This is the first time a Pope has ever visited Algeria.
Indeed, it is a truly historical trip. He'll continue in Algeria again tomorrow, and then he moves on to other nations through Africa. Tell us a bit more about the plan for the rest of the week.
So certainly tomorrow he will be in Annaba, which back in the days of Roman Africa was known as Hippo Regius. And during those times, a bishop Augustine went on to become Saint Augustine, was living there, and that's where he died there too. Now, he's a very well-known and important Christian thinker, Saint Augustine. His bestseller, if you like, Confessions, is still read today and has been for the 15 centuries since his death. So the Pope, before he became Pope, had visited Algeria before in the footsteps of Saint Augustine. He says very clearly he's a son of Saint Augustine. And yesterday we were meeting with a community of nuns, of Augustinian nuns in Algiers, who are preparing to welcome the Pope later on today, and they're of course extremely excited about it. But they said, we already know him. He's already been here to visit us before. Tomorrow then in Annaba, where the Pope will be holding Mass in the Basilica there. And then of course it's a whistle-stop tour. He'll be on to his next destination. He'll be doing 4 African countries in 11 days. But here today and tomorrow, he'll be here in Algeria.
Claire, thank you for that. France 24 senior reporter Claire Pacalan there reporting from Algiers.